After getting all geared, it's time to head out into the wilderness to start killing revenants. Before going, I also decided to grind out some deathmatch in order to stock up on points to buy myself some Revenant drop enhancers. This is an item you can buy that increases your drop chance of rare items from revenants by 10%. From what I've read, this typically isn't worth the effort since you could just kill more revenants in the time you spend getting the enhancer. In our case though, I look at it as time spent outside of the wilderness to reduce our time spent inside the wilderness, and for me that makes it totally worth it. I ended up spending about 20 minutes with our first inventory, but didn't get anything too interesting. After a quick trip to the bank, I headed back over, and not too long after, we started getting some drops. We got a corrupted dragon square shield, then some corrupted Morrigan's legs, corrupted dragon plate body, and then a Fremenic patch. There's also these little statuette type things that you get relatively often from here. They aren't required for any logs, but you can trade them into Mandrith for some gold. After this first little trip, our log is looking pretty nice already. I went back in and also netted myself a Vestus plate body, and not too long after even got our first Revenant Pet. The Revenant Pets are an interesting kind of drop, where it's the same item that you get each time, but as you get new ones, you unlock new versions of the pet. The rarity of getting the next pet goes up each time you get one, so it'll be interesting to see how many pets we can get on this grind. After killing all these revenants, my magic level was getting closer to 80, and I decided it would be a good idea to go get a chaotic staff for when we reach level 80. The chaotic staff is a tier 80 staff that you can unlock through the Dungeoneering reward shop for 200,000 tokens. These tokens won't take too long to get, but we do also need 80 Dungeoneering to buy the staff as well. You can spend Dungeoneering tokens at a 1-to-1 rate for Dungeoneering XP, so I decided this was how I was going to level up my Dungeoneering. A really great way to get lots of Dungeoneering tokens is by going into Elite Dungeon 1 and just killing the mini-bosses before restarting the dungeon again. This will take quite a while since I'm currently only level 44 Dungeoneering, and I'll need nearly 2 million tokens to get to tier 80 and buy my staff. So for now, I'll just keep this as a task as something to do whenever I'm feeling tired of killing revenants. Back over at the Revenants, things are continuing to go pretty well, and I got myself a Vestus longsword and a corrupted dragon mace. A little while later, I ended up getting an Ectoplasmator, which is kind of a neat drop. It's basically a bone crusher for ghosts and ashes once you charge it up with some ghostly essence. I also ended up getting a Ghost Hunter helmet, which is a piece of the Ghost Hunter set. This set is actually really good for revenants since it gives you a damage boost against ghost. The only problem is you need 20 defense to wear this outfit, and we're currently still locked to level 1 defense to keep our combat level as low as we can. So I guess this will just have to sit in our bank. I ended up realizing that I'd forgotten an upgrade we could get for our Revenant's gear, since you can actually upgrade the Salve Amulet into the Enchanted Salve Amulet. The upgraded version gives you a 20% damage and accuracy boost instead of 15%, so it's actually a pretty significant upgrade. In order to get this, I needed to complete the Lair of Tarn Razor lore mini quest, so I quickly ran through his labyrinth and won the boss fight. Our new amulet should definitely help improve our kills per hour. After a ton of token farming, I'd finally gotten my Dungeoneering up to 80 and also bought myself my fancy new staff. So with everything together, Revenants is going to be a breeze. I ended up getting a few more drops with a corrupted Statius plate body, a Morrigan's coif, and a free Revenant drop enhancer. More log progress is always nice to see. I ended up finding a bit of Croesus footage that I'd recorded on my laptop, where I ended up getting a Crypt Bloom helmet. This was a duplicate for me unfortunately, but I really can't complain with the luck that I've had here. Since we missed so many of the drops from Croesus because of the lost footage, I'm at least happy I could find a shot of how the log was looking. And like I was mentioning, my luck here has been absurd. We're currently sitting at 437 KC with 15 drops, the pet, and we're literally only a Crypt Bloom top from completing the log. I'm very sorry to all the people that have gone dry here because this is just silly. Back over at the Revenants, we ended up getting another drop with a Vesta's longsword. Then I ended up running into my first Revenant's PKer. We all knew this would happen eventually, and as always, it was a pretty scary moment. I've been using a similar strategy like at the Chaos Elemental by having another account stand near where I thought the PKers would come from. Luckily, this seems to work pretty well, and the PKer went straight for the other account, letting me get away with no issues. And then a pretty short while later, I ended up seeing my second PKer. This one also came from the bottom, but from the bottom entrance to the west. I quickly ran away from him and teleported away to safety. Always scary, but our quick reactions kept us safe. After some more grinding, I ended up getting a Zuriel's hood and a Statius full helm. Taking a look at our log, we're making pretty decent progress so far. From all my Croesus grinding, I'd actually gotten to 90 Hunter and was now able to start play your own ports. There's some pretty nice rewards you can get from here, like scrimshaws and the ports gear, but it actually takes quite a long time to get any of them, so it's generally really beneficial to start this as soon as you can. I quickly went through the tutorial, and I guess this is now another daily to add to my list. I ended up seeing a corrupted Statius plate body, and then a corrupted Vesta's body as well, before I ran into yet another PKer. This one also came in from the south, but I was too far away for him to have seen the hardcore. I was able to see the particle effects from him attacking my other account on this screen before I got away to safety. A little while later, I noticed that I'd gotten a warning about a player in the wildy using the wilderness bow. I decided to take that as an opportunity to preemptively change worlds just in case. I continued on grinding away at Revenants and got a few more drops. First, we received a Statius full helm. Then, I ended up getting a pair of cooking Brawling Gloves. The Brawling Gloves are items that let you gain boosted XP when you perform their skilling activity in the wilderness. These are actually pretty rare as a drop, so it's kinda neat to see. They're not needed for any logs though, so we don't need to worry about getting these. A little while later, I got another Revenant Drop Enhancer and a corrupted Zuriel's top. Then, I ended up getting yet another pair of Brawling Gloves, this time the melee ones. Taking a look at the log again, things are continuing to progress very nicely. We're actually very close to finishing the log already, and just need a Vesta's spear and a Statius Warhammer. Now, the Statius Warhammer is an item I was really hoping we'd get earlier on, since it's basically the only item that I actually want from here. The Statius Warhammer has a special attack that increases your target's affinity by 5, meaning you have a much higher hit chance on it. This is really strong against any enemies that have high defense and is a staple in many boss fights. Normally on a hardcore you wouldn't have this item because going for it is very dangerous, but I figured since we're already out here killing revenants, we might as well get one of these while we're at it. I'm just hoping we can get a non-corrupted one when we finally get one, since if we don't, I think I'm gonna stay here until we get one. Taking some time away from Revenants, I ended up unlocking the Invention skill. I'm really excited to get started with this skill since it's a massive upgrade once we get it leveled up a bit. This will allow us to add perks to our gear to make them even stronger. The main thing I'm looking forward to is getting the Undead Slayer perk for our chaotic staff, making us even better against Revenants. I got a couple other items while grinding away at the Revenants, and then within literally just a few minutes, I got both a Vesta's Spear and a Statius Warhammer to finish off the Chaos Elemental log. The only problem is that they were both corrupted. So as much as I'm thrilled to have finished off the Chaos Elemental log, I'm sadly still stuck here in the wilderness until I can get my hands on a real Statius Warhammer. The final KC for the Chaos Elemental log came in at 15,652, which I feel like is pretty lucky overall. I found that I tended to get around 400 to 450 KC an hour with my setup, which means I've spent around 35 hours at Revenant so far. Looks a lot quicker when everything is boiled down for a video, but this has been a slog of a grind so far. Here's hoping that we can see the hammer soon so we can finally move on from the wilderness and start leveling up this account. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and leave the video a like if you liked it. I also stream over on Twitch and would love it if you went and dropped me a follow over there as well. I also have a friends chat in game under my previous account's name, Expired Bree, that a bunch of us hang out in, and anyone is welcome to join. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.